Greetings to all. So let's touch on some issues, some pressing issues. First of all, Sunday is nothing, meaningless. It's not the seventh day. It's not the day God sanctified. Let's get that out of the way. Those of you who heard me speak before, do you think an attempt on Donald Trump's life is surprising to me? No, I spoke about it. Okay? I call him the modern day Nebuchadnezzar. Now, examining Donald Trump's presidency. I said it before too. Donald Trump, just like Nebuchadnezzar, was used to fulfill a task. Nebuchadnezzar was used to punish the Israelites. He got full to his head, began speaking about I this and I that. This is how Donald Trump speaks. Me personally, I believe Donald Trump was used as the catalyst to reinstate Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So when you check prophecy, no fighting is in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv don't exist in the book. Okay, all the fighting is gonna be for and in Jerusalem. So you check the history. Almost all of the United States, all of the presidents, I should say, promised a two-state solution and all this yada yada, nothing was happening. You see, they used Jerusalem as carrots so Israel could relinquish control of the West Bank and Gaza. But Donald Trump came in and gave Israel carte blanche, says Jerusalem is going to be the capital. So, by doing so, he fulfills one of the stuff that the prophecy that was spoken about. Now, me, I never wish ill on anybody. Donald Trump is not my enemy. I just call it for what it is. I saw him as Nebuchadnezzar. Believe it or not, Nebuchadnezzar was warned. Okay, the prophet came to him and warned him. He didn't take heed. The book says the very afternoon, Nebuchadnezzar was in a field somewhere eating grass. His nails has grown long as claws, and he was eating grass because he was in direct competition with God. So, at the end of the story, I think Nebuchadnezzar finally came back to his senses and he acknowledged who God was. And I believe Nebuchadnezzar made it into the kingdom. Now, this was a warning shot for Donald Trump. As far as I see, he hasn't learned anything. It was just a warning shot, just like Nebuchadnezzar. The prophet was sent to say, hey, stop it. I see people weeping in the crowds for Nebuchadnezzar. Yes, weeping, Remember the people that were weeping, the Israelites were weeping for that false god. The book. I saw people weeping in the crowds, man. This is disturbing. Donald Trump has this maxi pad on his ear, and the camera angle is always focused on his ear. People are weeping. Donald Trump is in direct competition with God because this is not a political movement. It becomes a cultist. It becomes like it's something religious, something divine. You guys are thinking that Donald Trump surviving that attempt on his life is providence. You guys are fools. That was a warning. Okay? It was a warning. God don't like puffed up people. Like I said, this man reminds me of Nebuchadnezzar. It's no surprise somebody had an attempt on his life. I said it before. God is going to humble him. He's in direct competition with God. You guys have that man as your God. And I'm telling you, folks, the last time that guy got in there, I don't know how much people died from COVID, but we had a plague. You guys finally started to focus on the things that was supposed to be focused on. Here it is, it's just a little bit after COVID and you're back to the same behavior again. You know what? When God punished Egypt, he hardened Pharaoh's heart because he wanted to punish him. But because the leader's heart was hardened, his subjects were punished also. You guys are not learning. And if Trump gets in there, that was a warning to Donald Trump. There's nothing wrong with Trump being president and change his ways. He needs to change his ways. That's all. He needs to be more humble, more kind. He's opposite of everything that is good. I'm not against Donald Trump being president. Listen to me. I'm a realist, man. When Barack Obama was in there, what we get? What we get with all the other presidents before? Nothing. You see, I believe we are the people of the book. And he says we're not going to get nothing. My trust is not in Biden or Trump. We get nothing. Everything we got, it was written. Everything that we did was written in blood. Okay? So we ain't getting nothing. And you folks who follow this despot, let me tell you something. There's a scenario that says one cannot win against somebody who has nothing to lose. So you, the white majority, you have all to lose. Okay? You have all to lose. He's the one that's going to destroy this country. You see what he's doing with the Supreme Court. They're going to cause blood to flow in the streets. Okay? Because when one cannot get justification from the courts, when they go awry like they do, guess what is coming out? Just like in that Donald Trump shooting, attempted shooting or whatever. Now, I could be as stupid as these MAGA people and call it, oh yes, that's fake news, or do like the QAnon idiots. But no, I wouldn't go down that route. I see it for what it is. After all, I realize I'm a black man living in the United States. I get nothing. This is what the book says. So go back to what the book says. You guys are fools, man. So you see, Netanyahu is up in arms because the ICJ, the International Court, ruled against him. They said that he need to allow the Palestinians to thrive for themselves. Now, this is nothing new. This is why it's called the occupied territories. Okay? He's building in areas where he's not supposed to. The United States gives some kind of nonsensical statement, but acknowledge that Israel is in violation when they build or occupy the West Bank. But I'm trying to tell you, nothing's going to happen to Israel because the fight, I have no idea what the Palestinian people are going to be like in the future. All I know, Israel remains because soldiers are going to be marched into Jerusalem. Okay? Israel going to remain. That third temple is going to go up. This is what it is. The book spoke about the Persians, the Medo-Persia Empire. Guess what? They predict Iran is weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. You guys cannot stop prophecy. Putin may seem like he's down and out. Russia is not going anywhere. Russia will rebuild through the BRICS currency. They're going to jettison the dollar. Russia is also in the book to play a role in the final fight. America is nowhere to be found. Okay? America is nowhere to be found. You see the resurgence of Catholicism? Well, who is this great whore? Who's the harlot that sit on many oceans? Who is the beast that was and is? So the Roman Empire is going to rise up through the Vatican. Okay? This is where the Pope comes from. He is going to go into Jerusalem when they build that third temple. He's going to be invited in there to say, oh, you could use your influence for peace. And the book says, by peace, he will destroy wonderfully. He would destroy wonderfully by peace. You guys are not learning. You sit up there talking about a rapture. There's no rapture, folks. This is why these stupid evangelicals don't care about the earth. Don't care about nothing, because before they believe, before it gets bad, they're going to be raptured off. Sad. Even though the book says you got to subdue, but be good stewards of the earth. You can't be a Christian if you like pollution. You can't be a Christian if you don't like the EPA. You guys are foolish. The book says be good stewards of the earth. Do you know crop rotation is in the Bible? That somebody who believes in Christ is supposed to practice crop rotation because it's good for the earth? You guys are following nonsense. That third temple will be built. It's not going to be built where the mosque is, because this is what they were plotting all these years. Maybe they have undermined the mosque. They have did all kind of stuff to cause it to implode. But that mosque has to be there. You know why? The biggest problem wasn't so much the disobedience of that in that land. The biggest problem the Elohim had when he drove the Israelites out of his land, he said, at least the land will keep its Sabbaths. You see, that's why that mosque sit there, because those people don't belong in that land, so they cannot break the Sabbaths. The ones that are there now are not the right ones, so they cannot break the Sabbaths. The land is still enjoying its Sabbaths until the rightful owner comes home. And this is what he says. He's going to give them a heart not to sin again, because he's not going through that. He's going to weed out the rebels, like he says. So when he returns his people, the land is going to be perfectly keeping its Sabbaths. You're not getting these teachings from your Sunday churches. That third temple is going to go up, whether they're going to tell lies or whatever. The biggest impediment is to find that 2-year-old unblemished red heifer. Imagine that it exists everywhere else in the world. But when that cow goes to Israel, it grows infirmities. You know why? The time isn't right yet. But eventually, they're going to get one, whether they tell lies or not. They're going to burn it. They're going to bathe in his ashes. They're going to put up that third temple. And after that third temple goes up, is then when all hell is going to break loose. So as of right now, people are talking, oh, the world's coming to an end. And this is people who can't read, don't understand, and be taught wrong. There are a number of things supposed to happen. The major one is that third temple, because that is where the Antichrist is going to take up residence. He's going to go. They're going to invite him over, and he's going to say, "Man, this is gorgeous. I think I'm going to make this my permanent residence." And that's when all hell is going to break loose. You guys talking foolishness about rapture. Okay? If a rapture comes, and he raptures off the saints, who the hell is the Antichrist is going to be killing? Who is he going to be pursuing? Who is he going to be killing? Fools. Also, you read in Revelation, it says that immediately after the tribulation, so shall you see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. This rapture is a doctrine of devils. You got to read and understand. Now, folks, I don't know what's going to happen to Donald Trump. Okay? I think just like Nebuchadnezzar, he was given a warning. It doesn't seem like he received that warning. He's using what he has like a demagogue to influence people to vote for him. He's not learning. He's not humble. So, God help us what's to come. That's all I got to tell you. You evangelicals are a bunch of crackhead Christians. You don't even know what 3 days and 3 nights is. I asked this person, they said, you take a 3-day weekend off. Take a 3-day weekend. Do you come back to work on Sunday? No, you don't. But yet you're going to tell me Jesus died on Friday and raised on Sunday, and that's 3 days and 3 nights. Fools. Fools. Book says he died in the midst of the week, which makes sense when you start counting. We don't count Pope time. You got to use the time that God says, because he says they're going to be changing time and laws. So an evening and the morning makes a day. So when you think about back then, they didn't have all the sophisticated timekeeping methods we have. So as soon as the sun goes down, this is why the Sabbath starts on Friday when the sun goes down. New day begins. The confirmation is when the sun rises the next day. This is how time should be told. Not 12:01 midnight. It's the same darkness outside. You don't know the difference. That is what you call Pope time. That came out of the Vatican, not out of Scripture. On top of that, it says it was a high Sabbath. So the Thursday, the body had to come down because it would pollute the land. So even though they know what the Sabbath day is, because the book says the very next day was the Sabbath. So how do you end up? How do you end up on Sunday as a Sabbath, huh? If Jesus was killed on Friday, and the book says the very next day was the Sabbath, how do you end up on Sunday as a Sabbath? Fools. But Jesus wasn't killed on Friday. He was killed on Wednesday. So when you think about it, do the time constructs. Wednesday Eve equal one night. Okay? So when the sun comes up on Thursday, that's one day. And you continue the cycle. And you're going to see you got 3 days and 3 nights when you get to Saturday. The only significant Sunday is because, here we go back again, when the Sabbath was over on Saturday, it was too late, too dangerous, too dark for them to go to that tomb. Do you think that his mother didn't want to go there? Yes, she wanted to, but she would have endangered her life. So they had to wait. And they said first thing, soon as that sun came up, they were at the tomb and he wasn't there. That's the only significant Sunday was, because Saturday they couldn't go. But Jesus was out of the tomb on Saturday. This is why they said the door, it was rolled away, he was gone. I don't understand how people get away with this foolishness. I really don't. How do they get away with this? How do you get away with a prosperity doctrine? How do you get away with the way you treat Donald Trump? How do the occultists get away? I never understood the Jim Jones, the David Koresh, and all of these cultists. But I'm looking at Trump's campaign and remind me of a occultist movement. That's what it reminds me of. This ain't no political campaign. Are you kidding me? People in the crowd crying? Are you kidding me? Was a freaking revival or something? the day of Penty Trump. Listen, there's a lot of things that need to happen, okay? That third temple hasn't been built yet. But with today's technology and construction, it will take no time. But just wait till you hear they announce that they have found this heifer and they're going to slaughter it. It don't take long to build that temple, and all hell is going to break loose then. You guys are fools to believe in a rapture. Bloody fools too. So I've been saying this all along. Donald Trump life reminds me of Nebuchadnezzar. Donald Trump is an I man. Nebuchadnezzar was an I man. They're in direct competition with God. He don't like that. And he will find some means somehow to humble Trump, just like he humbled Nebuchadnezzar. Folks, Trump getting shot in the air is not providence. It's a freaking warning. If he was smart, he would take this as a warning and try to punch his ticket to everlasting life instead of trying to be a demagogue.